It is only the water that's spilled. The bowl is not broken. This is a beautiful proverb that I think talks about the importance of hope.
It is, and it's from Mauritania, which is our feature country today. As an aside, we want to mention that you can buy us coffee on our website or our blog. So check that out. And you'll also be on Instagram. So you can follow the link and buy us cups of coffee. And touching back on that proverb, it is quite lovely.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I read that proverb, I imagined maybe slaving for a couple of hours and making this delicious meal or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then it all just spills.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine how frustrating and everything that can be.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, at least you have a bowl. Your bowl is still there. You can pick yourself up. You can make another dish. You can do what you need to do. But the main core, the foundation,
Mm-hmm.
the thing that holds everything together is still there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this proverb is very important, especially as the world is going through a very interesting phase.
Ugh.
That the water may be spilled. It may seem like everything is bubbling out of the surface. It seems like things are falling out of the bowl left, right, and center. But guess what? You're still here. Your bowl is not broken. Your person is not broken. You are not broken. This proverb really, really spoke to me.
When it talks about it's the water that spilled, the bowl is not broken. Depending on where you live, traditionally, if you were carrying water
From like a river,
From like a
and you had
river
to go and fetch some
and
water.
fetch, and the water spilled, but the bowl that you need to carry the water is not broken.
And I mean, if the water spills, you can just go back and get some more. Right?
After you've mourned.
After, of course, you mourn. But the main point is that if it's not broken, you can just fill it up. You have hope. You can start again.
Yeah.
Honestly, I remember reading this proverb and just sitting down and just reflecting for a really long time.
On life.
Yeah.
You are the bowl. No matter what
You are the bowl. You're not
You're
broken.
not broken.
You're not
The
broken.
story
As long
might
as there's
be-
still life, there's still hope. As long as you're still your spirit is still in your container, there's still hope for you.
Exactly. That was deep.
It was deep. I honestly, I really love this proverb. When I read it, I was like, this is one of those things I think is worth writing on a mirror, to be honest.
That's a good point.
Okay.
You are the bowl and you are not broken.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's
Shake it off a little bit.
Yeah, move away from this heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Couscous lovers, where are you? Couscous lovers, gather here because our dish is a couscous dish called Ngomou from Mauritania. If you've listened to our jollof special, it's made in a similar way to cheboudian, but without the tomato sauce. Yeah, I see your face. Without the tomato sauce. It's actually the same process.
Does it include the fish thing?
It does not. Can we let that go? It does not.
I will. I just, I didn't smell it there. So I needed to be like, maybe I had it cold that day.
No, it's still in my freezer. Okay. I still have more. So cheboudian, I was thinking that this might be why it's similar, because cheboudian is also a big deal in Mauritania. It's actually, I think, one of their official national dishes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even though it started in Senegal. So it didn't really surprise me too much that it was made that way.
Now, Mauritania's official name is the Islamic Republic of Mauritania. Mauritania is on the northwest of Africa, and it shares its borders with Mali, Algeria, Senegal, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Western Sahara. The capital city is
Nouakchott.
Nouakchott.
Okay.
The official language is Arabic, but French is also spoken since Mauritania is a former French colony. Wolof, Fula, and Sininke are indigenous languages that are recognized as national languages.
Mauritanian cuisine is a mix of indigenous Arabic and French cuisine. Because of its closeness to Morocco in the north and its closeness to Senegal in the south, you can find Senegalese and Moroccan influence in the food as well. So for instance, if you're familiar with Moroccan cuisine, you may know of harira, which is a tomato soup made with lentils. They also have that in Mauritania. We've also mentioned cheboudian, which came from Senegal, but in fact can now be considered as a national dish of Mauritania. So there you go.
Apart from that, you can find yassa, which we talked about in Mali, and is also from Senegal. It is marinated fish or chicken that's made with mustard and lots of onions. You can find bonava, a lamb and potato stew. There's also a specialty roast lamb called mechi, and again, you can find peanut sauce called mafe. Actually, I don't think we've talked about a country in Western or Central Africa and not mentioned peanut sauce as food.
I was thinking the same thing, actually. I feel like every time we talk, we're like, yeah, this country makes peanut sauce. This country makes peanut
But we do also mention that this country makes chicken. So,
But everybody makes chicken.
yeah, but we mentioned it like all the other episodes. We're
Oh,
like,
yeah?
they make chicken, they make peanut
Okay,
sauce.
guys, almost all African countries eat chicken. Anyway, now couscous is a pretty big deal in North Africa or in the Maghreb. In Mauritania also, couscous is made in different ways. Sometimes it is steamed with raisins and spices. You can eat it as an accompaniment to a stew or a sauce. The things that different countries have different grades of couscous. So if you maybe go into a store and find couscous in a box that's dried, you might find it's like a small yellow, grain, for lack of a better word. The ones you find in Mauritania are larger than that. They are darker. I think they're made from like a different part of wheat or something like that, and it's called mabroum. So the traditional way to make couscous, at least in Mauritania, is to steam it in something called a couscousière. So a couscousière, based on what I saw, is basically like almost like two pots stacked on top of each other, but the one on top has perforation, so like holes
it's like
in the
a
base.
steamer.
Like a steamer, exactly. And then you put the couscous on top of that one with the holes, and then the bottom one has water, and then you boil that until the steam cooks the couscous. Yeah, we did not do that. I'm sorry.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, we did not do that. So now to make Ngomou, you're going to need some lamb. It's one of those dishes you can use different things, but traditionally it's made with lamb. So you have your lamb, you have your couscous seeds. I didn't have any mabroum, so the traditional Mauritanian couscous. I tried to be as authentic as possible. I went into the African store and tried to find one that specifically said Mauritanian couscous. That did not work. Mabroum did not work. There was something that was from Senegal, and I thought it looked like couscous, but I wasn't sure. So I was like, let me just stick with the one that actually says couscous. And there was one that said Nigerian couscous. I don't know what that means. So I picked that up. So you need your lamb. Your lamb should be seasoned already. You need the couscous, onions, garlic, pepper to your taste. I use ground pepper and fresh pepper. And then you need a little bit of molokia powder, which is dried blended jute leaves. And we'd actually talked about that a little bit. Now, here's the thing. I didn't see that in every single recipe. So some people choose to add that. I'm not really sure what the point is. And some people choose not to.
Yeah, maybe more like a garnish or something.
No, so in the way, the second recipe that I saw, which I didn't use, what they did was that they prepared the couscous separately in a more elaborate way. They added some spices, they added raisins, and one of those spices was the molokia. So they basically tossed those spices into the couscous first. Oh, okay. I think I was like, well, I wasn't sure. Let's just go with the most basic possible option.
Okay.
And then you need some vegetables cut into large chunks. That was why I kind of said it made me think of chiboudienne. In my case, I used cabbage, carrots, and zucchini, just chopped into large chunks. So what you need to do, if you're using traditional couscous, like cooking in the traditional way, and you're using traditional Ngomou seeds, which is the Mauritanian couscous, you want to steam it in the couscousière because it'll take longer to cook. Since we didn't do that, and from my experience, couscous doesn't take a long time to cook, all I did was wash it. So I seasoned the lamb as I wanted with some garlic powder, Cameroon pepper, white pepper, black pepper, I like pepper, onion powder. When I seasoned it, I used a lot because the concept of making this is you make a sauce with the lamb, you add a little bit of water, and then you add the couscous. And the couscous cooks in the sauce, right? So for that to happen, imagine a situation where you're making your jollof rice. You want your stew to be very, like as spicy as it's going to be, because once you add the rice and mix it in, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
You can still add spices after, but it doesn't enter in as properly as it should.
Yep.
So I went out of my way to make sure my lamb was over spiced because I knew I was going to add a lot of water and then put the couscous in. So I did that. So once you've done that, you add some sliced onions or leeks and brown your lamb. And then you add fresh garlic and peppers that have been chopped. In the last couple of weeks, I've had some very big struggle with finding small hot peppers. Habaneros, Scotch bonnet. It was difficult when I was making this. And all I had was jalapeno. So I chopped that and improvised and used jalapeno. But feel free to use pepper as you need. So once you've sauteed all of this and added all of the peppers and all of that stuff, you then add your water. The whole point is to cook the lamb until it's done. Lamb is typically a tougher cut of meat, so you're looking at upwards of 40 minutes. But what you can do is while the lamb is being cooked, the next thing you do is you add your vegetables into the sauce as well. Obviously, they've been washed and cleaned and all of that. Once the vegetables are done, which is very similar to chiboudienne, you take them out and keep them separately. And then when the lamb is done, you take that out as well, add it to the sauce on the side, and then you toss in your couscous, which should have been washed or rinsed, and then allow the couscous to cook in it.
Honestly, I know that you said how similar they are to chibudin. It sounds like a lot of the same work.
Yes.
Chibudin, I remember you said it was so elaborate to cook. This sounds so elaborate. I'm like, wait, isn't that couscous we're making? But okay.
No, I think this is actually faster than chibudin.
Yeah.
It's just
It'd have to be. It's couscous if it was.
So
Okay.
basically, let me just outline the process. You saute your meat that's been seasoned. You make your little sauce. You add water, and then you add chopped vegetables. When the vegetables are cooked, because they should cook faster than the lamb, you move them. Then the lamb is cooked. You remove the lamb, and then you add the couscous and allow the couscous to cook.
Okay. Question. If you do that and you have your sauce, so that means when you're making the couscous traditionally, would then the sauce have to be the one to steam? Because I don't think the flavor is going to go through the steam.
From what I saw, they actually steam it separately.
Okay. You steam separately and stir it in.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
they'll cook some more. But keep in mind that is a traditional Mauritanian couscous, which is darker and probably harder.
Okay.
That's why when I made the couscous, I skipped that steaming step altogether. So I
Okay.
cooked it from raw in the sauce.
Yeah. Because now let's make that clear for our listeners as well.
Okay. And maybe this is what I should have done. When you're removing, feel free to take out some of the sauce with the vegetables and the meat. Yeah. Take some out and then you can now add your couscous. Because actually, even though I liked it, I kind of felt that I would have added a little less couscous. So there would be more of the water flavor to go in, and then I could serve more of the sauce on top of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so once you've done that, you serve it on a plate and you top it with sauces, vegetables, and meat, and you're good to go.
Yeah. When it's done, honestly, imagine chibudin without the fish. Because fish is the worst. But imagine chibudin. And I say that because I'm going to essentially be describing what some people might listen to and think, hang on, isn't that chibudin? But no, think of couscous, which would be like broken rice. On top of that, you have your cabbage that kind of look like steamed cabbage. So if you can think of the dish we had from Liberia. On top of that, you have your lamb, and you also have your steamed carrots and your zucchini. And then imagine a sprinkling of spices. Obviously, the spices are cooked in, but just for a visual representation, just imagine a sprinkling of spices on it. And there, my dears, you have your dish. Come on.
Okay, that was funny. So it's basically meat and vegetables on top of couscous.
Pretty much.
Okay.
All right. I liked it. And the reason I mentioned Liberia in my description is because it reminded me of the Liberian cabbage that I really liked. There's something I've learned about myself in this process that I really love light feeling meals. Right? So before I would be like, oh, I like things that are more like heavier and stuff. But going through Liberia, going through the dish that I preferred for a jollof special, going through some of the other dishes we've made, I find that I really, really enjoy flavors that feels like they're minty, but is also light and fluffy. In terms of taste, it is exactly as I described. It almost felt like it cleared my nostrils, but not in a spicy way that would burn like hell. It just seemed like a very light, not quite minty, but very flavorful meal. And I can't quite put my finger on what the flavor would have been that would have stood out. It's something you can have easily for dinner without necessarily feeling like you have to pass out like right after. And I did like the vegetables. Vegetables were delicious. Good job, Ichoma.
Thank you. For me, I'm wondering if the thing that you couldn't put your hands on, as you were thinking about it, I was thinking that I may have used a little bit of aniseed on the lamb.
That could be it.
Yeah, that licorice flavor. So I liked it a lot. I really enjoyed it, to be honest. And I am going to credit myself with that because the sauce was amazing.
Good Lord.
Anyway.
I take back my thank you. I take back my
late.
accolades. I'm done with you.
The sauce was fantastic, guys. I mean, like, I was shocked by
Very
myself.
good.
I fried the lamb, tasted the sauce, like, oh my God, I shocked myself every time. But anyway, like I said before, I tend to like my rice and all of that stuff with a lot of sauce. I'm one of those people that have trust issues.
I'm one of those that don't like it with
Jollof
a lot
rice.
of sauce. I don't like it with a lot of
Oh,
sauce.
I
I
like
like
sauce.
it when the sauce is not as much. Like Which is why I remember I can't remember what dish. I think it was one of the jollof rice dishes where you were complaining that you hadn't had enough sauce, and I was like, no, it was perfect.
It was a Liberian one. I remember it was a Liberian one. I think that you liked. Yeah. And the funny thing is, because vegetables absorb a lot of water, what I was looking for in the couscous, I found in the vegetable. That juiciness and the flavor of the sauce really got into the vegetables, and I liked that. I liked the lamb, the way it was seasoned, but of course that was all me. The cabbage was also. I tried to say that with a straight face, but I saw Yemi's reaction.
I feel like this auntie
I'm the one that created Ngomou.
She's not being very humble.
Mauritania, I
Humility.
created Ngomou. I'm the one.
Humility is a beautiful thing. You understand?
I created this dish. But anyway, no, on a more serious note, it was really nice. The one thing I didn't like, it wasn't because of the dish itself. It was because of the choice I made. Unless I'm not very familiar with how couscous tastes, because I haven't eaten it often. But I found the couscous itself, without being cooked, just the brand that I got, there was something about the flavor that really irked me. It was a smell I didn't like. And I was telling Yemi, it reminded me of something called Indomie. It's a kind of noodle.
Fried egg noodle.
Oh, is that what it is? Fried egg noodle?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh. I think it's a brand that's outside of Nigeria too, but we get a different...
Yeah.
The smell of what the raw one would be like is what I got from that couscous. So that kind of spoiled it for me. But apart from that, no, I loved this dish. The only thing that we talk about, which Yemi has already mentioned, is that whole concept of cutting the vegetable, putting it in the sauce, bringing it out, putting that one makes me tired. But yeah, apart from that, no, this is a great dish.
Honestly, I think we're both made for like luxurious life. I feel like we can both.
This is not where I'm supposed to be. I know that I am made for the lux. It's coming. Don't you worry.
Amen to that. All I need to do is make a time capsule and go back to like 2014 and buy a whole bunch of Bitcoin.
Yeah, take me with you.
Then yeah, I'd be living life. I would know your name. Damn.
I've stopped listening to news on Bitcoin because I'll just be sad.
All right, let's keep our discussions with food Bitcoin.
Okay.
Anyway, our Bitcoin discussion, which took a beautiful left turn, brings us to the end of yet another episode. Remember, you can buy us virtual cups of coffee, and by that way support us by clicking the link at the bottom of our post or in our link in our bio in any of our social media pages. We hope you have a wonderful week, and we will see you, albeit virtually, again soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening. While the podcast airs every 2 weeks, we have a backlog of episodes just waiting for you to enjoy.
The show is a collaboration between Tunuka Media and 234 Pantry.
Africa in My Kitchen is produced by Tunuka Media and co-hosted with 234 Pantry. So while on Instagram, visit both Tunuka Media and 234 Pantry. With Tunuka Media, you'll find out about more shows produced which aren't necessarily food related, while on 234 Pantry, you will get more food related content.
For example, Tunuka Media also produces another show called Overlooked, which I host. All the links with the relevant information to connect with us are located in the show notes. Like, subscribe, and share within your community. We'd also really love for you to give the show a high rating wherever you enjoy your podcasts.